Hello there, boys and girls. My name is Rapskilian, and welcome yourselves back to episode number 4 of For the Content.
I think it's 5.
5?
I think it's episode 5.
No.
I swear. No, it is. 100%.
Because we did...
We did 4 last time. That's a great way to start 5.
Oh my god, I'm getting old.
No, it's okay. It's 5. It's 5. See,
It's 5.
We did this last time where we forgot what number we're on. We're only on 4. And now we're on 5 and we've just completely lost it.
Like, we're going to get to like episode 10 or 20. We'll be like, what year is this? What is my name? So today I'm joined again, once again by Colesy. Last time I pointed in the wrong direction. This time I'm pointing the right direction.
Hello.
Because learn from your mistakes somehow. And I think the thing we can jump right into, because it is summer of games. I don't know what you call it.
It's the unofficial E3 of the year, isn't it? Because there's no E3.
It is all I can tell you. It's hot, and there was a lot of hot releases. Oh, not releases, like a lot of hot information that came out on the internet. I think someone learned from their mistakes and showed some gameplay this time around. Starfield.
Yes, I have seen a bit about that. Yes. Looks very interesting. When's it coming out? Is it next
2023. But I think No Man's Skies, Elite Dangerous, and especially in No Man's Skies. Did you watch a trailer? The gameplay trailer?
No, I didn't. No, I've caught bits and pieces here and there because there's been so many different events. There's been Xbox and all this stuff.
Okay, so
some
like
of us are busy.
For those that did watch, you'll probably notice there's a part in it where your character's walking down this planet's surface. That's what you call that. And he takes out his gun and he starts mining resources with a laser. And immediately when I saw that, I just thought about that meme from Leonardo DiCaprio going, like pointing, like, I know that. Like Sean Murray just sitting in his office like, whoa. That looks exactly like my game. Yeah. But like, what is probably your biggest thing you saw from this week's of gaming releases? What was the thing that made you go, ooh, I like that?
That's a difficult one. Because like I said, I've seen bits and pieces of different ones. I watched the VR stuff. Always interested in VR stuff. I didn't watch that. Always interested in that. Obviously, most of that is just, they're all indie games. There's no AAA developer that does VR because...
It's a hard investment, though.
Yeah, I understand it. A lot of that's interesting. I love that stuff. I love an indie game. Mm-hmm. The bits I have seen of Starfield look really interesting. That seems cool. Really just, I try not to get yourself too hyped up because that's what happened with No Man's Sky, and then it didn't turn out great and it took a while. So I try not to overdo it.
The thing with Bethesda and its with hype with Bethesda is it's a managed hype.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, like, if I'm explaining this correctly, like I was super hyped for Skyrim. I knew full well it is gonna be a buggy, absolute chaotic mess, but it was an amazing game.
It depends on the scale of bug. Like some bugs, funny. They're just funny. They don't break anything, or they're just stupid. And then some bugs, you're like, oh, I literally cannot progress, and it is ruining the game.
That's true. But like, I think with Bethesda, we have come to realize there's gonna be bugs in this game.
Yeah.
But it's a Bethesda game, so it's always been good, except for like
Fallout 76, I would say.
76, I have to like stand back and say that's not really a Bethesda game though. That wasn't made by Bethesda Studios. It was made by another third-party studio with their supervision.
Okay, well they didn't supervise very well. We shouldn't have let that happen. But I haven't played it actually.
Well, the thing is, you can't blame them for trying because we as a community have been asking for a Fallout MMO.
Yeah.
For like ages, and then we gave it. Then we got it, and we're like, "Yeah, I don't want this. I want a single player." And then Todd Howard's like, "Fucking don't know what you want anymore."
Yeah, it's like you could have had exactly what you wanted, but it would have taken many, many more years to perfect exactly how everyone wanted it.
I think if they because I know that new Fallout, not the new Fallout, the new Skyrim is working in a new Elder Scrolls game. Sorry, there we go. Is it a new engine?
We know what you meant. Yeah.
I know.
Well,
Is
it should be at
engine?
this rate when we're Skyrim out. If they went, oh, just use the same engine, who cares?
The problem is that they use the same engine from Skyrim to Fallout 4, and then Fallout 4's engine to make Fallout 76. And it's Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 shouldn't be on the same engine because there is no multiplayer components in the engine. It's not structured for multiplayer. So they just like basically...
They somehow managed something out
They
of
just like took a stick and stuck it against it like that'll work.
Yeah. The cost to develop an engine is insane. That's why they'll develop an engine and use it for
But now they got
multiple
money for
games.
it, though. Now they have the money for
well,
it.
yeah, just because you have the money for it. I mean, it's not just chuck money at it. Somebody has to make it. They're going, you can give me as much money. I can't work any faster.
Well, if you were like, hey, Rapskilian, I'm gonna give you $20 billion to develop an engine, I'm like,
So you reckon if I gave you 20 billion, you'd figure it out having no previous experience in engine development?
Colesy, I'm putting this statement out there. It says if there's some rich billionaire,
there's no billionaire watching this. Just to clarify.
come on, hey, don't discriminate against our billionaire viewers, okay?
I'm not. I mean, I love you if you are here, but I just don't believe it.
If there's a billionaire that watches this podcast just by accident, and they're like, I want to have a perfect multiplayer game for Fallout MMO, and I want Rapskilian to develop it. Give me 20 billion, and I will bring it to you. I will bring it to you.
20 billion's a
20
lot
billion.
of money.
I'll just hire someone smarter than me.
Well, that is how that sort of works, I guess, isn't it? Yeah. If you're the CEO of the company, you get paid the bonuses, but in reality, it's the people below you that actually do the work, mean that you earn the money. It's
just
true.
like, or just start Googling shit, like how to make multiplayer engine.
Nobody's ever thought of that before. Oh, just Google it. He's figured it out. We have to give him 20 billion. He's figured out how to Google, and he's done it. He's made the perfect engine.
Well, they figured out how to put Skyrim multiplayer in. Some modders. They were able to mod.
Yeah, but modders are clever as hell, man.
Yeah, but then why can...
They are. It's incredible. It's incredible work to do, considering most mods are free, and the amount of work they put in is incredible. Yeah. Because
I think they wanted to, Bethesda did want to do some good by the community by saying, okay, we can allow mods to be paid for. With the whole Bethesda thingy. And then they just fucked the pooch on that one really badly because they're like, oh, everyone's like, oh, you're going to make me pay for my mods? The guy that worked 20,000 hours in his fucking basement, sweat, tears, and all, I have to pay him money now?
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It isn't.
We've had them for free.
Devil's advocate right now.
Oh, I completely understand, but we've had them for free for so long, and I get it. Like I just said, there's so much work goes into them for, well, nothing. I mean, I guess some mods are like, you can donate or something, but the amount of people that won't do that and they're just going, yeah, it's a free mod. They're always free. Jesus, that person spent so much time and they get nothing for it. Apart from a cool mod, I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, and like some people do podcasts and content creation for free, and you guys should probably go check out a Patreon.
That's very true.
Colesy's Patreon, my Patreon, everyone's Patreon. Just
we're gonna set it up.
Crazy.
We'll get it.
We're gonna set up a Patreon for the podcast. Well, sorry, did you just swallow there?
No.
By the way, if you guys didn't know that because you're watching the video podcast and you listen to the audio podcast, Colesy just like took a sip of his drink, and I asked him a question, and he couldn't answer correctly. Or
the problem was
because he had to swallow.
I put ice in the water to make it nice and cold because it's very, very hot, and I got a chunk of ice in my mouth, and I had to sort of not chew it loudly on a microphone, but try and swallow it to talk.
Okay, so look, now you talk about ice because I know this is really off topic. I don't know how I'm going to show this on camera without pouring it over my fucking desk.
Okay, for the audio listeners,
can you see the colored ice?
Is that colored ice, or is it like that's not like a plastic ice cube thing, is it?
It's plastic ice cubes.
Oh, it is. Yeah, they're clever.
They're so clever. I bought it for my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool.
I use it for my drinks also. Yeah, my friend got really pissed off with me one day because he came over and he got really expensive whiskey. And he's like, do you have ice? I'm like, yeah, here.
I've got these children's ice cubes if you'd like to use these.
He's like, I saw how that works. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't have like a circular ice, not a rice.
It does the same thing though. Like
apparently not.
Yes, it does. It makes it cold. That's what it's for. I mean, I bought my dad because my dad will drink a bit of whiskey every now and
That's
again. I bought
fair.
him those special like cubes of like stone or whatever they're supposed to be, and you're supposed to use those for whiskey. And
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, it's cold. Who cares?
I
don't drink,
just
so it
find
doesn't
the
bother me.
details of life. There was a point when I wanted to get to that whole like rant, but I like went off on such a fucking tangent. I don't know where.
Yeah, I don't know where we are right now. What games did you enjoy from the Summer Games Fest or whatever?
Starfield, obviously,
Yeah.
because I finally saw some of Starfield. Redfall looks cool from Arcane Studios, the guys who made the murder game, which was it on the place on the fucking
The
Assassin.
murder
God damn it! I had it in my head. The Arcane Studios, they made the game where you're the assassin, and you know it's on the tip of your tongue.
Oh, I hate it when people do this. They go, "Oh, what's that thing?" and then you immediately forget it and can't think of it either.
There was two of them. There were two of them. You could like
Dishonored.
Dishonored. There you go. They made Dishonored, and they were making this game. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, saw the gameplay. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be like a Left 4 Dead kind of style game. But they're like, no. It is a very similar game to Dishonored, but with an open world, and your friends can just jump in and play with you. So you have like this whole world you can explore, and that was like, oh, that made me feel much better.
Yeah, I mean they've tried with what's that Left 4 Dead clone thing that just came out not that long
Back 4
ago.
Blood.
Yeah, I mean I was really
It's not
excited
really
for that and thought it's going to be cool, but I didn't play much of it. I played the beta and it's on Games Pass, so I can play it. I haven't played it, but it's probably fine. But it's just not. It's not Left 4 Dead, is it? That's the problem. Left 4 Dead. I don't know whether it's past its prime and you couldn't release that now and it be good, and it's just us being nostalgic for it.
No, what happened with Left 4 Dead, and I've also, I think this is very true, is that they caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
With the characters, with the atmosphere and everything. So Back 4 Blood was made. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments below. Were made by the original developers, but not like the original, like not the same company, but people that worked on the original game from the new company, and they made this game.
It's like a split off of some of the
It's
old
like
team
it's like
members,
basically a remake, but not officially. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because they couldn't get the licensing off Valve, whatever.
It's Valve,
Basically,
it's a
they
Valve
made
game,
it.
yeah.
They said like, okay, we're gonna make a new version of Left 4 Dead with Back 4 Blood. Basically, everything about it speaks to like this is Left 4 Dead's unofficial, remake.
I just feel bad for it though, because I'm like, it's probably really like all right and decent, and they're making it. And you were like, oh, but it didn't do what you wanted it to do, and it wasn't Left 4 Dead 3. Like, it's just like I feel kind of bad for them. Like it didn't quite explode.
I think the whole idea of a co-op shooter nowadays, for me personally, like I played it also. It is fun. It is fun. There's no doubt about it. It's just I cannot play it because of the fact is that it's gonna sound really sad when I say this. I don't have any friends to play with.
Nobody play with me.
Nobody want to play games with me. No, because the thing is, like, if with Left 4 Dead, the reason why I think for me personally, back when it came out was so fun. Was I went on Xbox 360, Xbox Live. My friends were online. We did some matches, and it was fun.
Yeah,
because you had your friends. And
see, I always think that about most games. If it's a co-op game, it's like so many more times the fun. If you play with your friends, you can make it fun because you're just joking about and messing about with your mates. So it doesn't matter that the game's not that good. If it's a mech game, the interaction between you and friends makes it more fun.
There's so many co-op games that came out or announced.
There's
so many games.
Did they talk about the Harry Potter game? I didn't see if they did.
No, they didn't. They didn't talk about it.
I'm excited for that. That's a game I'm excited for.
Game there was a shitty trailer. I'm so pissed off about this, but they showed a trailer. They could not released it, but a frame. It's Stalker 2, baby.
Oh no! I just met, but I don't know. I don't think I've played Stalker. I haven't played. Apparently, I've not played anything.
Okay, Colesy, we're gonna have to make a new series on your channel.
Colesy plays games.
Rap forces to play Colesy to play games.
I haven't played anything.
Because Stalker has, for those who have played it, man, it's such an atmospheric game. It is a buggy mess. It is so broken in so many places, but that experience.
Why do you play games that are only broken? When you were talking about flipping, what was it the other week?
Star Citizen?
Yeah, and you're like, it's so broken, but it's so good.
It's a metaphor for my life.
It's broken, but it's good. Yeah.
I'll talk about my favorite game ever one day. That's also a very broken mess. But it's one of the best games out there that I've ever played. But Stalker had such a great atmosphere, and I think if you were to release it now, people will compare it to like the Dark Souls of FPS games.
Oh, I hate everything being compared to it's the Dark
But
Souls.
it's the original hard thing, man. Like
It's just if a game is hard, it's Dark Souls.
Well,
that's what it means.
I'm speaking to the youngins, okay? So
Fine,
the youngins can understand it.
So
They're
they,
like,
so
I get that reference.
I know Dark Souls. I'll buy Stalker too. Yeah, no. Okay, fair.
Okay, so for those that don't know what Stalker 2 is, it's not a game where you stalk the next door neighbor or something like that. It's basically situated in an alternate universe where after the Chernobyl explosion happened, there was a zone that was made around it, which happened in reality too. But there were people that went into the zone to capture artifacts because the radiation that was inside their zone made special artifacts and mutants. And if they were said, if you take the artifacts and you sell it in the black market, you make millions. And also, you play as a character that lost his memory, and to retrieve his memory and grant his ultimate wish, you have to go to the core of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. And they said, if you find the core and you tell your wish to the core, you will get your wish granted.
That's weird. That's probably not
really weird, but it's...
when you were explaining it, it does jam some memories in my head because I'm like, I do vaguely remember a game about, the Chernobyl stuff and all that stuff. It's
there's
quite
a lot of games about that.
spooky, isn't it?
It's so
It's scary. It's not a horror game, but it is spooky.
I remember the one point that scared the shit out of me in that game is there was a village not south of the Chernobyl power plant that you can walk through. It's like one of the biggest open parts in the map. And there was like a radiation storm coming in, so I had to go into a little building for cover.
Hmm.
And my Geiger meter, which is going like me the fucking I can't comprehend.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's probably the outside storm. No, it was one of those invisible fucking creatures that just like
invisible fun.
jumped me and like hit me, and I was like, I've never screamed like that loud in a game before, and I like. I just like unloaded the whole magazine, the gun jammed, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die now. So yeah, that was my fun thing about the games event announcement. What was yours? I already asked you that question, didn't I?
I'm just trying to think of anything else that I remember from it. There was that new, it looked like Dead Space, but it's not Dead Space. It's shite, what it's called.
Oh, yeah, the Coalition?
Yeah. That looked quite cool. I mean, the thing is, I can't remember what was that. I don't know what show that was. There's been multiple different shows. And as that show was on, I was watching it on another monitor while I was editing an episode of the podcast. So I'd just look up every now and again and be like, oh yeah, that's a game, yeah, huh? Like, oh yeah, new Cuphead DLC, uh-huh. So I genuinely thought that was a new Dead Space when I saw it. Because I couldn't listen to it while also trying to edit the podcast.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh yeah, oh that looks like Dead Space. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then I talked to my brother later, and he's like, it's not Dead Space. It's a different game. I'm like, it looked exactly like Dead Space.
I think I don't know if it. Again, I don't know if it's also made by like ex-developers from the studio.
Could be
Probably. I think this is the first podcast we talked quite a majority of it about games.
We do tend to not feature games and talk about weird stuff more than anything. But the video game things have happened this week, so that means we can talk about it. I mean, because otherwise it's just me saying, I've been playing Breath of the Wild and it's really good, again, for like the 4th week in a row. Jesus.
And I'm like, I pooped my pants this week. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. I'm all good this week.
Neither did I, okay.
I have a little topic that I thought might be worth chatting about, which is, it's related to video games.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah, so let's keep on
So it sort of carries on. Like NFTs and stuff like that, because it's a thing that gets mentioned a lot, and I just want to discuss it, and, everyone has their opinions on it. Generally, people hate them, is the general view, and I get it. But then also, like, I get the other side as well. Like, I understand, like, I would be cool. This like, Ready Player One style world where we're all virtual and all. Oh, look at me!
Yeah,
I've got a cool T-shirt.
if they could do that, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, but but then when game developers try and do that, and they go, "We're going to bring NFTs," everyone goes, "No, don't do it. We're not buying your games." Like it happened. I think Team 17, who make Worms.
Yeah,
That's what I remember. Team 17.
Yeah,
they make Worms.
Worms.
They said it at one point. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to do NFTs." Everyone went to shite on them, and like they went, "Oh, we won't do that then, I guess." They just completely changed their mind. So then it's like, well, you're not really that like forward on it. If you really wanted to do it, and you're like, "No, we think it's the future. We're doing it." You just ignore everyone. But obviously, I don't know. Is it like when everyone jumped onto Battle Royale and was like, "We'll do a Battle Royale because Fortnite's good." Now everyone's like, "We'll do NFTs because that's a thing."
The thing is with like, so if a game developer like really had a good concept and they're like, look, this is it, bam, and showed us something that was good,
Yeah.
then I would be like, okay, this is something I can get behind, right? But as someone that kind of doesn't like NFTs and just not really into the whole concept behind it,
Fair
just
enough.
my personal preference. You can like whatever you want because I also bought cryptocurrency and absolutely regret it.
Yep.
I didn't take the time to invest my time into it.
It's a bad time right now to have crypto.
Like I know a person that bought Bitcoins like super early on, and now that person is still living off it.
Gee, that's
I'm
that's good
fucking
money.
kicking myself for not jumping on it back then, you know.
I
But,
made
you
some
know,
money off of Doge, but I genuinely bought it a few years ago as a joke, and
Yeah.
then suddenly it was like a couple of years ago when it was up. I was like, "Oh, I have some of that," and I was like, I made a little bit of money off it. I'm like, up, but that was the only time I've ever really bought
Yeah.
crypto and like made money on it. Everything else is like, oh, I have lost money on all this. But NFTs is like,
so there was a game developer that said they're gonna make an NFT game, right? And they were like, everyone was like, okay, show us what you got. And when they showed us what they had, it was like, no, please don't do this. Do you remember back in the early 2000s when they had those web browser games where like you click on it and then it builds your base? Like before mobile games were on the mobile phone, they were on the fucking web browser where
yeah,
you
it's like Farmville and shite, like that kind of style.
No,
of, like,
before that, like you could build like space bases and you could click your stuff on the web browser. You can make a vampire. I don't know if I'm dating myself here. Old people know what I'm talking about. Young people don't know what I'm talking about. Like back in the day, you could go to a web browser and play a web browser based MMO with no gameplay. Just like click to build this part of the base, click to build that part of the base. It was all text based.
right, yeah.
So this game developer showed this cool CGI trailer of like space battles and like planetary battles. Everyone was like, holy shit, you're going to put NFTs in this? It's going to be awesome. That was the gameplay. You go onto a web browser.
I remember
and you click,
this.
And then you buy
Yeah.
NFTs, which is soldiers. And then they can go super mine and they can attack and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, this is not a game. This is a web browser where you're just giving your money for text.
Yeah,
And
I
they're
remember
like,
that.
you
'Cause
can
it was
make
like,
money.
it's one of those like when you play a mobile game and you're like, I've run out of gems. It's got to wait 4 hours. But it'd be, I've sent off my NFT spaceship with its NFT soldiers to mine. And in 5 hours, I can see if they've successfully made it back. And it's like...
Exactly.
It doesn't,
and they're like,
it's
oh,
not
but
great.
you can make money off it. Like, yeah, but
No.
I'd rather just, like, not do that. Like, I have more chance of making money by streaming Fortnite or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the point of, like, if they make a good NFT game. Like,
I don't know what it would be. I imagine it would be an MMO of some sort.
I have an idea. Like, I'm just going to throw an idea here.
You're going to sell... Right, 20 billion, and you'll sell this idea.
So I've always wanted to make a video game. Mm-hmm. And this probably would work in it. So you have a large-scale planet with an alien force, aliens living on the planet, humans invading the planet, and then you have a large, like, instant base, like an MMO. You have different instances, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have the human faction and the alien faction having to fight against each other. Your equipment is a one-time thing. You can find equipment, you can buy equipment through the black market, import, and those weapons are yours. If you lose them in combat, they're gone.
Right.
So you have to like fight and claim land on the. You could build your own town on the land and stuff like that, and you can build your stuff like that. But the guns and equipment have to be the NFTs.
Yeah.
Physical guns you can actually use in the game, not like, oh, I've got a cod that magically poops something in imaginary land. I don't want a fucking gun or a gun armor piece.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. It's games
It has to be
where
like
it has to be physically. It's like
usable.
Like, yeah, well, it's kind of in a way like Fortnite and its skins, right? You buy Fortnite skins,
Yes.
they don't, but obviously they don't do anything. Whereas in your idea, they are a key part to the game
Yes.
mechanics. But it's the same thing. It's you're buying something virtually that isn't a real thing, but you own it in the game or in the universe. And I think that's fine. That's been going on for years. Like, you'd play an MMO and you'd be like, I've got this cool armor piece that's really rare, and you could sell that to somebody. Like, it's been we've been doing it since we were kids.
But the thing is,
just now it's an NFT and it's got crypto behind it and all that crap.
That's a problem, because I think if game developers want to bring in the concept of like an NFT, they should remove the whole concept of cryptocurrency behind it.
Yeah, but they can't, because that's exactly what it's tied to, isn't it? It's like, it's all on the blockchain, and that's how we can track.
Colesy.
No, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. Like we've been doing it for years without it being called an NFT. It's just, I have a cool thing in a virtual game.
But like the thing is, like, if I own that like imaginary game that I made, right? If the soldier dies and you go to the soldier, but you're playing on the alien side, you find that person's gun. That gun is an NFT, so that means that gun is one of a kind. Because that person has like modified the gun with special abilities, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You pick up that gun is now removed from that person's person. You own that gun now.
Yeah, it's like removed from their wallet, put into your wallet. Yeah. All that stuff.
So then you keep it.
That makes sense. Like, a game like that, I can get behind. I genuinely think, like, I mean, I know it's sort of pay to win. It's sort of pay to win in the fact that people will play the game, and if someone's got like just a shite ton of money, they'll be like, I've bought all these amazing guns.
Yeah, but then that person makes himself a target. Then your squad, your faction,
as long as it's balanced correctly.
Yeah, of course. You can't be like,
now still
I have
vulnerable.
a fucking gun that shoots nukes, but like just like, oh, that person has a whale on their that let's say middle of the map in sector Suckadick D or something like that. There's a whale in a base there, so let's go raid his base.
Now let's go raid Rust with NFTs.
It sounds like Rust, because you have to, the idea behind my game without the NFTs was just basically having to have. Do you know the Fort Knox game that came out recently?
No,
it's like a World War II like a MMO where you have to have some players run like supply runs to the chain.
Right, yeah.
Keep the war machine going. Same idea.
Mm-hmm.
But just with like an alien setting, with like futuristic stuff like that. And just have the people like, oh, that player there, that squad, that the human faction has a whale there. If we go raid that guy, we can make big money because he has all the good guns.
It's like, I guess it's like if you in real life went, he's really rich and you plan to like rob somebody's house. Exactly, that's what it is, but it's not illegal because it's a game.
You risk your money.
At some point, they'll definitely, like, if that was the case, they'd make that illegal. Because why is it okay to rob this person's stuff in a game, but it's worth actual money, but it's not okay to turn up at his house and like take his TV?
Because you consent to it. You consent to it by playing the game. By investing into the game, you can make big money on the market with your guns. Then you can go backwards and sell your guns behind the back of your faction to the alien race or whoever, make money off that. Or you could just like get the risk of getting robbed, you know?
I see. It's a very confusing space, this whole meta NFT space at the minute. So, because there's all that. Have you seen like I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say something wrong. No, it was like there was somebody in some sort of metaverse space or something. I don't know what it was. I don't know what game it was, because obviously there's a million different things. But they were like sexually assaulted in VR, and I'm like,
that was weird.
I don't know if that is possible.
Though there is a point where it's like, okay, so that's when
I don't want. I know it's a difficult topic to touch on, and I don't want to
it's
sound.
not really. It's the touching that's a problem.
Yes, but there's no touching because it's not real.
No, so sexual assault isn't just.
It's not physical.
Wait, I have
doesn't
to
have
remember.
to be.
I have to like. I went through not that I went through your HR training or
He's
something
been
like that.
trained.
No, it's like because like when I got my new job, I had to read all the documents and it was like,
Yeah, yeah.
there's a whole definition of sexual assault.
Good. I'll keep track of this just in
Keep
case.
track of this. So it is considered physical or also verbal.
Yeah, I mean,
If someone came up to you and be like, Colesy, I want to stick my D in your booty, and you're like, oh, that makes me feel uncomfortable.
yeah, no, I see. That's what I was just about to say. As I said it to you, I don't want to come across like an asshole who's like, it's not real, dumbass. But no, I get it because, like, you know, you can say stuff in any video game to people, and you know, you've seen it like where a girl, it's always a girl because video games seem to be male or have been for all.
We're
It's
apes.
a difficult topic. It's a difficult topic to touch on without sounding, you know, inconsiderate. But like somebody, like a girl would be playing like Halo and she'd speak on chat or something, and then all the guys would be like, "Oh my god, show us your tits" or whatever, wouldn't they? And it's like, that's not a nice experience.
I know.
So I kind of get it that way.
Like, do you know any female gamers?
I mean, yeah, vaguely. Not. I mean, I'm like you. I have no friends, but.
So
As acquaintances, yes, I do know females who play video games.
I know there's a few people. There's 2 or 3 people in my. I have like one person in my community. She's a female gamer. I know her in real life also. She wanted to become a streamer. She streamed for like a few months or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she was like, just people being vulgar and shit. She just wanted to be streaming again. And also back in the Xbox 360 days, I had a friend of mine. She was female. We played Xbox 360. We played Halo 3, and like every time she spoke in the lobbies. There always was that one dickhead, like, are you a girl? I can't believe a girl could play video games. I don't have any brain cells. I'm like, oh,
I know, it's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. It's just stupid. But I can understand it from that perspective. I guess because I've never experienced it, really. Like, if somebody went, oh, Cozy, I want to put my dick in your ass, I'd be like, all right, leave, get out, shut up. Like, it wouldn't, I wouldn't take offense to it, I guess, but... I guess so, it depends on you personally, doesn't it? I guess.
Yeah, right. So, like, okay, this is gonna sound really. I'm not comparing myself to female experience because I cannot compare. Okay, because I'm still a man.
See, this is what I mean. I feel like we're treading on eggshells because I don't want to say anything wrong, but I genuinely don't mean any offense. Like neither of us do by anything we say. If we're wrong and we've got mistaken, then correct us. But
please,
I don't mean any bad.
I always say this, and I always say this very, very, very from the bottom of my heart. I don't and will never understand. And I can never truly understand what it feels to be a female in a male-dominated world. Mm-hmm. That said, I played Valorant, and for some reason, Valorant makes my voice sound very smooth and silky. And of course, when I play Valorant, I deepen my voice because everyone thinks this is my natural voice. This high, my natural voice is a much more deeper, very small, smooth voice. Not jerking myself off there, okay?
Okay.
And then sometimes in the lobbies, the people be like, "Oh my god, I want you to jerk me off," or some shit like that. And like sometimes I just laugh at it, but then it's like sometimes it's like, oh, I'm not sure if this guy is underage when he says that, and it just you feel weird. I feel weird when people like, "Oh man, Rapskilian, your voice is so sexy. Have sex with me. I want you to marry me. I want to make you pregnant," or some shit like that. It's just like, you know, at the moment you're lols. But inside you're like, I'm not okay with this actually.
Yeah. No, well, it's not okay. It's not okay for somebody to speak to somebody like that.
I am a father and you're a father too, right?
Correct.
Like, just imagine walking past your son's like gaming room, whatever, and he's like, "Oh yeah, random stranger, I want to suck your dick because you have a sexy voice."
I mean, that's weird. That would be weird.
Like, dude,
you're like,
son.
What are you doing? Fucking hell, Jesus, who are you talking to?
If you're gonna do that, at least invite me. I'm joking.
I think being a content creator, especially like you said, like your friend who did do some streaming and then had I guess a not very nice experience from it because of the audience. But when you decide to do it, you have to realize that no matter who you are, there's going to be assholes out there, and you have to kind of have a bit of a thick skin and be like, oh, fuck off. Do you know how many times in comments of videos I get, oh, look, it's Ed Sheeran, or oh, look, it's Ron from Harry Potter, and I'm like, yes, I'm ginger, I get it, yes, I'm every ginger person, I understand.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
But obviously that's not to the extent, that's just someone being a dick, and, you know, I don't care. But when somebody's going to, like, to that extra effort of being, like, genuinely horribly
horrible
offensive.
person, yeah.
Like, I could imagine someone in real life being like, it's Ed Sheeran, and like saying that to my face, because that's not bad. But nobody would go up to somebody and go, I want to touch you up, and you're like, no one would do that, because you are insane.
But the people have done that to females, and
they don't have.
How does people's brain, like, how do you function? Like, I'm gonna walk up to this random stranger and tell them I want them to touch my penis, and that's gonna be okay.
I mean, people either don't have social skills or have misunderstood the circumstances, which I can understand happening with people who are online, because you watch them a lot and therefore you kind of think that your
parasocial relationship, yeah.
Exactly. But then obviously the person from the other side, the streamer, doesn't know you that well, and so you can't just walk up to them and go, ooh, all right, can I touch your ass? You'd be like, no, because I don't know you, mate.
It's a weird experience, parasocial relationships. Like, sometimes in the stream, like, it happens where people, like, chat will be giving me shit because I'm playing bad or something. But then sometimes there's a moment where I'm like, okay, it's a step too far.
Okay, you've gone too far now, yeah.
Like, there's one guy that he was like, oh, you're an idiot. I'm like, that's not a joke. That's just you insulting me now.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. You can't tell. Somebody might be like, oh, you're an idiot. And
but then he went on to, like, kept going on, like, oh yeah, you're an old man, blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
yeah, I've had that before. Where at some point you go, yep, I was okay with, like, shrugging it off and making it a joke, and now you've said it 7 times. I don't really want you here anymore, to be honest. So
as a small content creator, people think, oh, I can get away with more because this guy needs me.
Yeah.
Surprise, motherfucker! I don't.
I mean,
I really don't need your shit.
There's a million other people out there that can watch. I'm not trying to be like, everyone is appreciated, but if you're going to be a dick, if you're going to be a dick, or, you know, you're going to disagree with me on something that I feel very strongly on, it's not going to happen. Like, we're not going to be friends, I'm afraid.
Also, like even if you're a paid sub, people think if they could sub, they could do whatever they want. No.
It's not.
Like, they just, like, drop all sense of, like integrity. Like, oh yeah, you gave me money. So fine.
I'll do anything
just
for your $5.
Shit on my face, man.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I forgot my window's open.
Shit on my face. All your neighbors are like, what is he doing?
Her neighbor's like, Rapskilian, he's doing his thing again.
That's the thing. It's like, you do have to have some sort of
boundaries.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
But the thing is, like, as both of us are white males,
true, we have all of the knowledge.
Our boundaries will be respected sometimes. Not all the time. But if we say, hey, you know, you like the show, you like the community, can you please stop that, right? And the people, more sane people were like, oh, I went too far. Okay, I gotta stop. But for female or for people from the LGBTQIA plus community, they'll be like, please stop that. And people are like, you're not normal, or blah, blah, blah. You have a vagina. I'm like,
we don't live their lives. We don't know.
I respect people that are like, I respect females. I respect people of color. I respect people in the LGBTQ plus community. I respect them because they live their lives the way they want to live it. Like that we live our lives. They get shit. They're living the Dark Souls of life.
Oh, here we go. Back to the Dark Souls. Yeah, it's just I guess we've just been fortunate that we have turned out to be white males in a society that it has been white male predominant.
And I'm sure us talking about this and being supportive of those people, there are people probably not like we're gonna probably get the first dislikes on this podcast because people are like Boogie. You know who Boogie is, right?
Yep.
He posted a video of him saying he supports Pride Month. And the first response to that tweet was, "Oh, you're getting political. I don't like this. I'm gonna
Yeah, 'cause
leave."
sometimes people can't understand that person that they like watching the videos of actually has a political stance.
But it's not
Sometimes
political.
people, no, it's not political. It should never be political. It's not. Political's like, oh, how much funding are we going to give so and so?
Exactly.
No, it's not fucking, oh, I like men. It's like, that has nothing to do with politics. What are you talking about?
What does me shagging another dude have to do with like economics, like global?
I've noted here that there's a lot of gay men, and that's meant that our economy's down. No, bullshit. That's not nothing to do with nothing, you idiot.
Oh man, I just know there's a bunch of like that is a topic I think. Yeah, it isn't like a friend came out to me, and he was, bless him, he was so scared, and he's like,
and
he's like,
because they don't know how you're going to react. That's the problem,
like,
isn't it?
I'm gay, and I'm like, oh okay, cool. What do you want to get for lunch?
Yeah.
And he's like, really? I'm like, doesn't matter.
No,
Like,
it doesn't affect me. I mean, it's your life.
It's you're happy. You finally came true to your like. It's kind of cool that those people can actually live their true selves. Do you know what I mean?
Do you not feel like you're living your true self?
Oh mate, if I was going to be my true self, like what I do on the internet and the outside life, I would probably not have a job anymore.
Okay, well, that's intriguing.
Because okay, a good topic, a good example, not topic, example is my voice, the way I speak. I don't actually speak normally like this.
I don't
before
I don't
I
understand what
became.
you mean.
Okay,
I don't think I've changed my voice. I just talk, and now I'm thinking I can't imagine having to force my. Oh no, I'm going to talk like this, and I've got to force myself to do a different.
So if you work in retail, you've probably heard this term retail voice, right?
Yeah, it's like when you speak to somebody officially on the phone. You're like, "Oh, hello there. Yes, I would like a passport." You have a voice.
You have a voice, right? And I did 10 years of retail. And it physically changed my natural voice into the voice that you hear now. It is much more how do I put it? It sounds really egotistical. I've made my voices sound more pleasing to the ear.
Yeah. Okay.
To make it sound more upbeat, much more friendly, welcoming, and reassuring.
Yeah, because in that industry, that's what you need.
Yeah. So there's another voice that I have. I've mentioned this. In
my head, you're saying I have another voice, and I'm like, he's schizophrenic. He thinks he's three people.
So many things. There's a third voice that I have. There's a secret weapon. So if I had a customer that was complaining, like my colleague would be like, I had a customer, we fucked up their order or we did something wrong, and I tell them, don't let them come into the shop. Let me call them.
Yeah.
And then I put on my call voice.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to do it because it's embarrassing, but it's like this. It's just really.
Describe it. How would you describe it?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rapskilian. I'm calling from so-and-so shop. Hi. Okay. I absolutely understand that. So I know we messed up your order, but if you be, okay, understand. That's fine. It's fine. All right. If you would just come into the shop, we can look for a solution. And yes, I understand. That's all right. I would also be angry in your situation. Like that kind of. That's not the true voice, but like
you've like ASMR'd me. Like,
don't get a boner.
ASMR's not weird. Just for clarification, it's just you did make me a little bit tingly. I'm like, he's whispering at me.
Yeah, so like you whisper, like so. What I used to do is I whisper, and I would go into. I don't want to say what my old boss, because the first place I worked in, he taught me how to do this whole voice changing thing.
Yeah,
and he taught me this voice, and the way that he described it, it's not very politically correct. The way he's described, he's like, you have to be that kind of person, and like, okay, and it's like just use that stereotypical voice that people think that person sounds like.
Yeah,
and Colesy, from 99% of the calls I had of complaints, all of them got like resolved.
Yeah,
people like
your calming voice,
screaming.
Yeah, your calming voice brings them down. You can't scream at somebody who's whispering like nicely at you. You're like, oh, hang on, I am completely out of order here if I'm screaming at this like person. So it works. Like I get it.
Yeah. So and then people complain to me when I did, like you talked about, like this not being my true self. Like when I play Valorant, I realized people enjoy a much more deeper, sensual, like, you know, what's his name? The guy that came out, the guy with a really deep voice that does the song "Stroke Me If You Love Me."
Yeah. You've done that thing again where you've said it, but yeah.
Corpse Husband.
Yeah.
And
his voice is extremely like unique though. Like,
yeah, so I realized, people like that kind of thing. So because the encoder of Valorant is so nice, and this microphone that I bought is really nice to bring out the low ends up, I was like, I'm going to use my natural voice.
Fair enough.
And then people on my stream are like, oh, Rapskilian, you're catfishing the people because, you know, they see your voice on the game and they come here and you're like,
you're squeaking at them, but in the game you're so low.
Yeah, it's like, and then I do normal games where I play and I stream on a normal voice, and people are like, "Oh, this is not fun to watch," because that's the thing. If your voice isn't Corpse Husband, like that deep, people aren't gonna like a deeper voice. They like to have that mid range where it's more of a pleasing, but not making you fall asleep voice.
Yeah,
it's such a weird.
I've never considered like my voice. I mean,
it's so important.
I know, but like I think in my head, obviously, like I get what you're saying. Like when if you talk to somebody, you know, on the phone and it's an official person, you tend to be more polite and be more good at pronunciation and stuff like that.
I fuck up on everything.
Well, you try, and like, you know, if you're like your kids are doing something wrong, you've got that stern voice where you're like, what? And they're like, oh no, that's his serious voice. That means I really shouldn't do that, right? So I get that, but I've never considered like having to change. I've just been like, this is my voice. It's what I've got. I can't change it. I can't be somebody else's voice. If people hate my voice, unfortunately, I guess I'm just screwed. Podcast is not where I should be.
A thing that I also do is I change my accent depending on who I talk to. Don't know why I do this. This is something I do without really thinking about it.
Yeah, but you speak multiple languages, so I can
understand
that more.
So if I talk to you, you'll probably pick up sometimes I speak with a British accent sometimes.
Yeah, occasionally, yeah.
You'll pick up some terms and some enunciations like, oh, that sounds like a British person, right?
Yeah.
Not naturally, but some of it.
Well, yeah, it's not your natural language, so you've learned it from somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, so you're going to pick up how it's pronounced, however you've learned it or whatever.
If I talk to someone from the United States, I talk an American accent.
Right. Okay.
Now, this has backfired to me multiple times. So I was working in retail, in tourism, and I was very tired that day. This is my excuse. A family from Russia came in.
And you just copied their accent?
I fucking copied the Russian accent so badly. And the guy was like, are you Russian? I'm like,
no.
Oh.
Yeah, because you feel like they're going to think you're taking the piss out of them. And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to, I don't know, my brain's just stupid.
No, my brain was like, yes.
You lied. You just went,
I lied. In my head, it's like, I'm never going to see this man ever again in my life. He's going to get on a plane tomorrow.
Terrified.
He's going to fuck off back to his country. I will never see him again. So I'd
be terrified he'd suddenly switch and start speaking Russian at me or asking me like, oh, where are you from in Russia? And you'd be like, I'm going to have to think on my feet.
I said to him, I don't speak Russian anymore because when I was a child, my parents are from Russia. They never spoke Russian to me. They just spoke English to me because they said English is more important because we're living in the western parts of, Europe. And we moved to Switzerland because of my father's job. And they're like, oh. And sometimes when people from the home country come back, I kind of adjust my accent to them. I'm like, oh, that's so kind. Have you ever been to the homeland? I'm like, no, I want to really go there. Jesus, man.
I can't believe you. I mean, I don't think I'd have the balls to do it. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just an idiot. That's my response most of the time.
I think, sometimes I don't know if it's the dyslexia or just me being stupid. Sometimes my mouth goes too fast for my head. I think another instance where I really messed up and got really lucky is I was selling. I used to work in the watch industry. I used to sell watches. That's where that incident happened with the Russian family. So a family came in, was a mother, I think a daughter, and a husband, and then the two were married. The woman and the man were married, and an older lady.
Okay.
I think the daughter, the mother, like the older lady was the mother of the daughter, but whatever. Yep. Basically, you get what I'm saying. I'm bad with telling stories. They were like, "Oh, we want to buy a watch for my mother because she loves Swiss watches." So I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll show her a few watches." And I put on this really nice watch for her from Rado. It's a nice watch. And I said to her, "Oh, because I have like the sales argument prepared in my head, so I could just like blah 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 them out."
Yeah.
And I'm putting it on her wrist. Mind you, she's an old lady in a wheelchair. And I told her, "Ma'am, this is also a certified diving watch."
Oh, she's gonna go diving sometime.
She just looked, and "Oh, don't worry, madam. This is also a certified diving watch if you go swimming." And I looked at her, and she looks at me, and she's like, "I like you."
Oh, that is awkward.
And I looked up, and the husband and like the young couple were like looking at him like, "Come on, man. Oh, I'm sorry." Internally, I was dying, but externally, I was like,
"Yeah." I mean, I think
it's a laugh.
A reasonable person would realize that was just a mistake, and it wasn't like you trying to be funny or silly or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, that thing's happened. Like I've seen this video where it's like, must be the Paralympics or something. And they're on the like podium, and he's like, they give them the medal, and he goes to shake their hand. They've got no arm, and he's like, "Oh," you're like, "Oh, I understand why you've done that," and I don't think they'd take offense. But that's an awkward moment when you go to shake their hand and they don't have one.
I saw that clip recently, and I was like, "Oh,
you can feel it though, because you're like, oh, I've done that. I've probably done something like that where I've said something that's ridiculous."
That guy probably went back home and was like, "Oh, this is going to haunt me for a long time."
I know. It's on the internet and it's worse. Right. I have a quick story because I know we're closing in because you mentioned an old person.
Oh.
So yesterday was my daughter's sports day at school. So we went and watched her do all the races and stuff. And I was looking after my nephew. I had him with me. So he came with me and we went and watched it and all that. And then on the way back, I thought, we'll go to the shop. I just need to grab some stuff on the way home.
Okay.
So we were walking home, we went in the shop, and then you know how like when you've got a little child, like old people will kind of just, that you don't know, they'll just speak to the child and they'll be like, "Oh, hello," and you're like, "Oh, they're just being like a nice old person and they're interacting with them and stuff." So we bumped into a man and he was like, "Oh," and my nephew was wearing a hat to protect him from the sun. So the old man was like, "Oh, hello," and stuff, and you know, my nephew's just like smiling at him, just being a kid.
Yeah.
My nephew's 2. By the way, just to clarify.
Okay.
So then the old man was wearing one of those like flat farmer hat things. So what he did was he was just messing around with with my nephew, and he took my nephew's hat and they swapped hats. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, the old man, he's just big silly." And I'm sort of stood there being that awkward person that's like, "I don't know you, but I'm going to go, oh yeah. Oh, yeah."
Don't molest him.
You're doing like those little like, "Oh, it's okay," when really you're going, "This is kind of weird now. Can we, I just want to get on." So he did that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." Then he gave him his hat back and that, and then he put his hand out for a high five, right? And then my nephew gave him a high five, and this old man screamed so loudly, he was like, "Ah!" And I'm like, I think he was just like joking around, messing.
Yeah.
But he was so loud that other people in the shop, everyone turned to look, and I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake, I'm in the middle of this now." And I'm like, and I'm doing that thing still where I'm going, like just trying to laugh it off. Being like, "Oh yeah,
kill me."
I'm like, "Oh, you're a silly old man," kind of. "Oh, you." And I'm talking to my nephew. I'm like, "Oh, Lincoln, it's all right." "Oh yeah." And I was worried that he might cry, like get upset because he doesn't understand, but he was fine. And he's like, "Oh yeah." It gets weirder. So at this point, I'm like, this man's he's a bit much, right? But he's an old man. Let him off, whatever. He's not done anything wrong. He's just a bit weird. So he then stops talking to my nephew, and he's like looking at me and talks to me. And he says to me, I couldn't, his accent, he didn't really have an accent. I think he just mumbled a lot, and it was kind of hard to understand him a little bit. So, but he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, did you hear?" And then he mentioned a town, like, a couple towns away.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear? He was like, there was a husband who lost his wife, couldn't find her for like 20 minutes. Turned out she'd committed suicide. And I was like, where has this come from? And I've gone from obviously doing my fake laugh, like, because I'm like, oh, what's he saying to me? He's probably going to tell me something silly. And I'm just shocked. I don't know how to take it. And I go, oh. And then he mumbles a bit more. And I'm like, I don't know what he said, but I just wanted to leave. So I just like, okay, thank you. And then I left. And I'm like, I don't know what was going on there.
Maybe he confessed to you.
I don't
Maybe he's
understand.
the murderer, Colesy. I don't
want to see him ever again. Jesus
like,
Christ.
He's like, I killed her. You're like, okay.
Okay, bye.
Thanks.
What a strange thing to say to somebody.
Old people do that. I'm sorry. I know it's
so mad.
Screw the 1 hour.
Yeah,
old people
fine,
do weird shit. Old people do weird shit like that.
I immediately thought about your crazy religious old lady that you talked to, and I'm like, now I've met a crazy one who's talking about suicide. Jesus.
Dude, if you work in retail and then you will experience this where old people will come into your shop and literally tell you things that you didn't expect to have.
No, they start conversations about things that you don't care or haven't asked
about. No. I've had people told me that their wife just died and that's why they're here. I've had people told me, oh, I just came back from operation, from very things you should not tell people you had operations about.
I don't need to know this. Please don't.
And people are like, oh, my brother's left, never talked to me again. Like, people come to shops, old people come to shops sometimes to just use us as therapists, because do you know why? Their generation didn't know anything about mental health, and they use us retail workers as free fucking therapists.
Yeah, but you're not giving them feedback. You're not going, well,
I'm like, have to, dude. You can.
Yeah, but you're not giving them feedback. You just, I'm just being that. So they come in and they go, oh, my wife's just died. And you go, oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. And then I don't really know what else.
Would you want to buy a 55-inch TV to like deal with your pain?
You're going to sell them a watch now, are you? You're going to be like, oh, I've got a lovely watch here. It's perfect for, dead wives.
No, like, look, I worked in a shop where I was alone for 1 year. Like, literally, I was the only staff in the whole shop.
Uh-huh.
So I was bored the fuck out of my mind. So when old man came, he was like, yeah, my wife died. I'm like, okay, let's have a coffee. Sit down, let's have a talk.
Well, I mean, you got nothing better to do. It's fine.
And then, like, even when we had other staff in the shop, I'm like,
they can handle. Anybody else comes in, they deal with it. I'm dealing with old man with dead wife. Thank you. I'm giving him some therapy. You sell them the TV now. Jesus.
I've had like legitimate people come into the shop, tell me like really, really, really personal things, and then I would be like, "Oh, this person just opened up to me in their moment of weakness. I cannot just be blocking them."
No, I get you. It's just it's an odd situation when you suddenly like find yourself in it. You're like, I did not expect that to happen right now.
Many of my coworkers had that situation where people would do that to them, and they would be like immediately stone cold, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is not appropriate. You shouldn't talk to me about this. I'm just a retail worker." Blah blah blah.
I couldn't do.
And I'm like, "Oh, you could do that, fine, whatever." But I think the only time that it really affected me was a guy came in. And he's like, "Oh, my wife just divorced me because she was cheating on me. Blah blah blah," and da da da. Well, that's. I'm so sorry, and I gave him a free drink and stuff like that. This is when I was working in electronics, not watches, okay? And I was like, I'm really sorry to hear that, and like, I gave him some like advice because my parents divorced at a very late age, so I went through the whole spiel. I was like, your kids are young, they're gonna hate you now for it, but down the line they're gonna be thankful for it. And like, oh, and he's like, okay, that made him feel better, right? You can see him like feel better, and then he's little shit stains of kids came in. I was like, you know what? Fuck your kids. Not in a literal sense, but fuck your kids.
Yeah.
The kid came in, Dad, I want an Xbox, I want a PlayStation 4, I want a TV, I want a computer. Ugh. And the dad just told me like a few minutes ago, he is broke. And he's just wanted to come in to buy his son a gift to kind of like, and I told him then also, don't do this. You can't buy their child's love. The
thing is, when they're very small, the kids don't realize it. They think, oh, whoever buys me the most stuff is the best.
No. This kid was like fucking 13, 14 years old.
Okay, no excuse then. That kid's just
That kid's a fucking dick.
Yeah.
I don't care if my neighbors hear me. That kid was a fucking dick. Because like that kid came in and he was like, oh yeah, I want a PlayStation 4, Xbox, I want a TV, I want a PC. And I looked at that kid and I was like, and the father looked at me and it's like, oh, okay, you can choose whatever you want, son, because I love you. And the kid said, okay. He didn't even say, I love you back.
No.
I cut the set. I said, like, I'm so sorry, sir. I cannot serve you. I don't have the power to serve you. And I stopped the sale. I went to the back. I had a cry. My manager came in and he's like, why didn't you say anything to that guy? I was like, because he doesn't have the money for it. He's like, yeah, but he's gonna pay with a credit card. That's nothing to do with you. He's private. He's old enough to make decisions. And I'm like, his kid is emotionally abusing him.
Yeah.
Like not abusing him, manipulating and extorting him.
Yeah.
To use a very emotional moment to get shit. That kid is a brat. That kid is a shit stain, a living, walking cum stain.
No, I agree. I get what you mean. I don't know.
And I was like, that was the only time in retail I was like, fuck this. I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, I get it. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I can understand from like your manager or whatever's perspective being like,
fuck that man. Sorry, fuck that guy. He's my ex-boss, so I can say him. Fuck him.
No, but I get like, it's like, well, it's their decision. But then where does that line end? If you worked in a hardware store, somebody came in, and you're at the till, you're serving them, and they've got this big piece of rope, and they're like, I'm going to hang myself with this. Do you go, yeah, okay, I'll scan that through? No, you wouldn't. You'd go, whoa, I'm not selling you this.
No, selling that, yeah.
If they told you that to your face, you're not going to do it. But if they go, oh, I'm going to buy all this stuff and put myself into massive debt, that's okay, is it?
No.
Because their kid's an asshole. No, that's not okay.
No.
So there's a line somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Oh, gee. I've never worked in a job that has been customer facing.
So the thing is, every time we had a new employee that never worked in retail, that joined us, because the shop that I worked before, the most like retailers with like electronics, they work on a provision-based sales.
Right.
So I mean, that means that you make a sale, you get some kickback from it, right?
Yeah.
I always use this metaphor. You can imagine being a retail worker is like being in Star Wars.
Right.
You can be a Sith and be very powerful. You can make sales in dirty tactics. You can do the nastiest shit to make good sales, and you get so much money from it. But you will have no soul. If I sold that TV, that PlayStation 4, the Xbox, the PC, all this stuff with the guarantee extension, blah, 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 I would have been much more off better. My family would have much more money.
Yeah.
But I would be less of a human.
It's your morals, isn't it? It's
your morals, right? So I always tell them,
Yeah.
like, guys, you have to be like, oh, shit, I forgot his name now.
Oh, we're doing this again.
Not Jack Nicholson, not the guy, the guy with the purple lightsaber, the bald head, Star Wars.
He's called Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. Forgot the actor's name.
Yeah.
And he always says, "I've had enough of these motherfucking planes and this motherfucking snakes."
What's his name? Oh no.
Oh no, I forgot his name too now.
Oh, it's like there. It's so. I'm gonna Google it. Screw it. I'm doing it. Mace Windu actor Samuel L. Jackson. Nailed it.
Oh my god! Like, you have to be Samuel L. Jackson in Star Wars, because Samuel L. Jackson's character wasn't a Jedi or a Sith. He was a neutral. He was a Grey Jedi.
Yes, he was.
So you have to be a Grey Jedi. You have to do the light side to keep yourself like morally stable, and then sometimes you have to be a little bit shitty, and you make money because you're selling.
Exactly.
You have to.
If
Your
money
kids
was
have
no
to.
object, you wouldn't be an asshole ever. You'd
I wouldn't be in retail then. But
exactly. True.
But like the thing is, like, and I always tell them, like, you have to find a moral ground, like where you have to find a natural balance. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll
burn
never. You're not burn out. You will become the most hated person, because people will be like, "Oh, people won't come to you anymore to buy things from you."
Yeah.
If they came to you and you sold them an overpriced TV or something they really didn't need, they'll be like, "Oh, this person just like did this one over, we're not going to go back to that person.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's true. If you had if you realise after the fact, you're going, I don't think that was as good as I thought it was. You're probably not going to go back there.
I didn't need that. It's way too expensive. Then no, people are not going to come back to you. So this podcast has been episode number 5.
Correct. 5.
And is also available on Spotify. The other platforms are coming. There's a little issue which we need to solve with the other platforms. I apologize. That's my mistake, my delay. An absolute pleasure to have you guys listen to us on the video and audio podcast. Please do yourself a favor. Go down the links below in the description. Check out Colesy's channel, which you already are on. And also check out his Twitch channel, his Twitter, and I think he has an Instagram channel also. And a TikTok.
I've got a TikTok. I don't really
He's got a TikToky.
I got all of them.
He's got all the things except for the OF and the PH.
Well, you say OF. I may have set up an OF with the podcast name, but I haven't done anything with it. But it may. I just thought I'd get it. I get it in case.
Okay, might have grabbed it for trademark issues.
Exactly.
And also check out my channel below. My name is Rapskilian. I do YouTube content, but also do streams weekly on Friday and Saturday. So please come check me out then. If you enjoyed the show, please like, comment, and subscribe. Love a bit of pie, and I'll see you guys next time. Colesy, why don't you do your thing?